Today I'm quickly going to go through my research synthesis and touch on some key points. And what I researched was the changing pedagogy and what is right for distance learning and what is the best approach for distance learning. And pedagogy is simply your practice of teaching. It's kind of all those little bits that go into what makes us a teacher and what we do in our classroom in order to reach our students and to teach and meet the needs of our students. I found this infographic interesting in its assessment of learning outcomes, and we're looking at satisfaction with online education. And I do believe that the current high level of satisfaction with online education, it's really become equal to face-to-face instruction. And I think the reason it has gotten there is because the changes of pedagogy over the last few years, and those changes have really had a huge impact on satisfaction within online learning. One of the huge things you have to talk about when you're talking about the pedagogy of a distance learning classroom is constructivism. And constructivism is not a pedagogy, it's a theory. But the theory is very applicable and could definitely be pulled in and used to shape your pedagogy as a distance learning teacher. In this theory, knowledge is not just kind of spit out by the teacher, taken in by the student, and then regurgitated. The student actually is an active participant, and they discover the knowledge and discover the learning on their own. And so that's a huge thing where the learner themselves discovers the knowledge. And the other huge part is that their experiences and the experiences of the learner are allowed to, and I say allowed because back in my day when I was in school, our experiences weren't allowed to shape and color our learning. It was, learn it just like it is and move on. And so constructivism adds that in. The experiences of the learner can shape and color their learning. Which is a key in making it relevant to their own lives and thus something that they will, apply in the future much more so than if it was not something they could relate to. And lastly, huge part of distance learning, the learner is an active participant. In constructivism, the learner has to be an active part of that learning community, which is 100% necessary for a successful distance learning class as well. I like this little info, I guess it's an infographic or just an image about constructivism. Create our own learning. And the part that really caught me is DIY learning. Everything these days is DIY. I love DIY. Do it yourself, and so why not DIY learning as well? All right, so as far as pedagogy goes, there's 3 key points. And I think, honestly, could I employ these 3 key points in a face-to-face classroom? Sure, but they are 100% necessary for distance learning. Your pedagogy must reflect the needs of the classroom. So for a distance learning classroom, you can't just take the same thing you did in face-to-face classes and implement that in distance learning. Well, I guess you could, but it is not going to be effective. You need to find out the needs of your students. And, it could be scheduling that's different. It could be that they need to learn different technology skills. It's all kinds of different things. Find out the needs of those students when you're considering what to do with your teaching. In addition, online classrooms should employ various technological applications and Web 2.0 tools. They exist. Why would we not use them? In many occasions with younger students, they're a great way to catch their interest and to suck them in and to make them realize that you as a teacher are considering their interest. Same thing with older students with distance learning. Use these applications and tools. They may be things that they can use in the future in their own career fields oftentimes. And so these things need to be employed. We're throwing kind of some digital media kind of literacy stuff in there and using all these different tools, which is necessary in this day and age. And most importantly, pedagogy cannot be static. If we are a distance learning teacher, We have to be constantly changing with the times. Technology is such a rapidly changing field. We must be constantly changing with that field, since that is what we're employing as our method of instruction. It is based on, the different technology that's available to us. And so our pedagogy, it shouldn't really be in a face-to-face classroom. It shouldn't be static, but in the online learning environment, it just cannot be static. It must be constantly changing.